I am pleased to switch back to the subject of academia and invite to the stage President of Ruppin Academic Center, Professor Aviad Kleinberg.
Okay, first of all, bon appetit. Ladies and gentlemen, as the slide behind me indicates, my name is Aviad Kleinberg. I'm a professor of history and president of Ruppin Academic Center in Emek Hefer. Being an historian, let me begin with history. Almost a century ago, in 1927, the Zionist Association of Canada decided to buy lands in Emek Hefer. Now, the Canadian Zionists chose Emek Hefer because it is located in the so-called narrow waist of Israel, less than 10 miles wide. Cut it off, and the country is split in two. That's it. This is where we are. 10 miles, that's the breadth of Israel. Now, the Canadian Zionists were not strategists, but they believed in the Zionist vision, and they could read the map. Israel was founded by men and women who could see the forest and the trees. Visionaries have dreams. Making dreams come true requires co-workers, men and women willing to lend a hand to add another brick and another floor to the rising edifice. The Zionists who bought the lands of Emek Hefer did just that. Back to the man who was a strategist. In 1949, David Ben-Gurion was the prime minister of the newly founded state of Israel. He had a lot on his mind. Israel has just been attacked, this was the first time, by 7 Arab states and was fighting for its survival. But busy as he was, Ben-Gurion found the time to order the foundation of an institute of agricultural studies in Emek Hefer. If Jews were to work the land, he thought, they should do it using the latest developments in science and technology. A country, Ben-Gurion held, needs guns and tanks and airplanes. It also needs scholars and thinkers. Hence, the new institute, the Ruppin Academic Center. The startup nation, ladies and gentlemen, was not born in the 90s. The State of Israel is a successful startup of the Jewish people. I stand before you as one of the workers, making sure that the dream continues to unfold and to grow. Now, a few words about myself. I am a product of what the founding fathers and mothers struggled for, an opportunity for people like me to thrive in a society that did not hold their Jewishness against them. Look at those pictures. On the right, you can see my family. Left person, my grandfather, Moshe Mordechai. In the middle, my great-grandmother, Hadass. My great-grandfather, Yehuda Tzvi. All murdered in Treblinka, together with the entire Kleinberg tribe. Brothers and sisters and grandchildren and uncles and cousins, everybody was dead. On the left, you can see me at the end of officer's course. My parents were very, very proud of me. And in the middle, I just wanted to make sure the person who is me is the person on the left. Okay. So, born in Beersheba to Holocaust survivors from Poland, World War II interrupted my parents' education. My father managed to study 8 grades, my mother 6. My grandfathers were poor workers. My grandmothers, it might surprise you to hear, were both literate. I was a first-generation student. Israel gave people like me the chance they would not have had in Eastern Europe. I graduated from high school and went to the army, where I served as an officer in a combat unit. When I was discharged from the army, I went to study history at Tel Aviv University. Then I got a Rothschild Fellowship to study for a PhD at the University of Toronto. 6 years later, I returned to Tel Aviv University as a professor. In my years at Tel Aviv, I was head of general studies, head of the School of History, head of Tel Aviv University Press. My books were published by Harvard, Columbia, and Chicago University presses. They were translated into many languages. But I wanted to do more. 3 years ago, I got a chance to do just that. I was elected president of the Ruppin Academic Center. I wanted to work in an academic institute where opening doors for talented first-gen students is its main mission. Ruppin is such a place. When I was in my 20s, doors were open for me. Now, it was my turn to open doors for others. At Ruppin, we recognize talent that others sometimes fail to recognize. We accept students that other institutions may not accept. But we do not promote low standards. On the contrary, by the time we finish training our students, they can compete with anyone. Sometimes, all it takes to discover talent is a willingness to do extra work. The hinges may be a bit rusty, a little effort, and another door is opened. But it's not just self-fulfillment that we promote. We certainly teach our students to believe in themselves and strive for excellence. But we also teach them to believe in others, and more important, to care for others. Our students are taught to take responsibility for their classmates, for their communities, for Israeli society. Israel belongs to the human mosaic it is made of. It belongs to people with different means and different abilities. It is our duty to make Israel great, a land safe and prosperous, where dreams can come true for all who dare to dream. I told you that we do not lower our standards. Behind me are some examples proving that excellence and social commitment can go hand in hand. These are some of our stars, but I say again, but raising the next generation of students isn't all we do. We are not just a school, but a center of research and entrepreneurship. Here are some of the projects that the Ruppin Academic Center chose to focus on. 1. How can we strengthen personal and national resilience in Israel? On October 7, our world was shaken to the core. The sights and sounds of slaughter and unimaginable cruelty, the realization that our existence is much more fragile than we thought, traumatized all of us. Like the entire Israeli society, we joined the effort to defend Israel. At some point, about a quarter of our students and faculty were in uniform. But doing our duty, we thought, was not enough. We asked ourselves, what more can we do? In Ruppin, we have a very strong group specializing in trauma and resilience. We have one of the only MA programs in Israel specializing in trauma. We have a research center specializing in mental pain. With the help of the Trauma Coalition of Israel and the Rothschild Foundation, we opened a center for resilience. It helps victims and offers training to what we call resilience leaders throughout the country. Trauma must be treated not only by therapists and specialists, but by communities. We know how to create circles of intervention. We are now helping others create them in their own communities. Number 2, how can we help immigrants and displaced persons cope? Israel is a nation of immigrants. Since its foundation, Israel had faced challenges of absorption. It is not easy to make people from every corner of the earth feel at home. There have been successes and failures. Ruppin's Institute for the Study of Immigration, one of the only non-governmental think tanks dealing with Aliyah and Yerida in Israel, tries to help the country learn from achievements and avoid mistakes. After October 7th, the Institute facing a new challenge, displaced persons. Cities, settlements, kibbutzim in the north and the south were evacuated. Numerous Israelis have been uprooted. They need practical and emotional support. The Institute offers better ways to provide both. It is not solving political problems, logistical problems. It helps cement national solidarity. Number 3, how can Israel benefit from its location on the Mediterranean coast? Israel has land, air, and even space strategies. But though most of its population lives on the coastal plain, it does not have a clear marine strategy. It should. The Mediterranean coastal plain of Israel is only 100 miles long, but it is one of the most interesting tracts of land in the world. Israel's marine frontier has cities and agricultural settlements, ports and marinas, power plants and facilities for producing natural gas, fuel farms, desalination plants, military bases, unique nature reserves, and ancient coastal cities like Caesarea, Jaffa, and Ashkelon. Furthermore, the sea is the main supply artery for Israel. 98% of the goods we use are transported by sea. The sea is Israel's main provider of water and energy. The sea has a huge impact on Israel's climate. It deserves to be studied. We are one of the main centers for the study of the Mediterranean Sea in Israel. Ruppin's Marine Science faculty is the only academic institution in Israel that has a campus on the very shore of the Mediterranean. Our mission is to offer ways to preserve and develop marine resources. We have our own marina, a research vessel, and some of the most advanced labs for the study of the sea. Our researchers study everything from climate to marine agriculture, from learning how to develop robotics by understanding octopuses, to the interaction between salt and sweet waters in estuaries. We are now forming a new center for applied marine science where scientists work with industry on marine startups. Blue-green economy offers huge prospects. We are there to make them materialize. Number 4, how can we treat the elderly in a sustainable way? Sustainability, ladies and gentlemen, concerns not only natural but human resources. Ruppin has a very strong group of gerontologists. We believe that old people do not become, upon retirement, passive consumers of recreation. Old people have energy and experience that many of them are willing to share for the benefit of society. In our Kama Center, we study ways for keeping the elderly active and respected members of their communities. As in resilience, the key for human well-being is to retain members within their communities as much as possible. We are working towards creating social interactions that will benefit young and old alike. Number 5, how do we make new technologies a driving force for Ruppin in Israel? The artificial intelligence revolution is in full swing. You're either on the fast-moving train or you're left behind. We're on the new technologies train. We are not satisfied with adding new courses and spreading AI literacy among all our students, though we obviously do both. We plan to make Ruppin Academic Center a laboratory and a model campus. Everything from infrastructure to teaching and research will talk the talk and walk the walk. We're small enough to make the makeover possible, and we have at home the brain power to effectuate it. Creating a smart campus will produce synergies between academic and administrative unit, improve teaching and productivity. It will allow researchers from Ruppin and elsewhere to study the effects of new technologies on the entire academic community. Our graduates will be well prepared for a rapidly changing world. I'm almost through. Let's go back to the beginning. Remember the Canadian Zionists and the land of Emek Hefer? A century ago, they had the foresight to invest in the future of Israel. Tens of thousands of us graduates are the result. Help us build Israel next 100 years. Thank you very much.